Hello everyone, welcome back to Brian's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving and wonderful shopping weekend if that's something that you partake in. There's definitely been a lot of great sales and deals out there, even with the cottage companies that relatively never go on sale, and it's understandable because most of the stuff is handmade. Anyway, I hope everyone got some good deals. Today we're going to be talking about case updates. These cases, some of them are recent and some of them happened earlier this year. I'll give a quick recap of the disappearance in case you didn't see the first video. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It's free. It really helps out the channel. I appreciate it so much and I really thank you for your consideration. All right, let's get into it. The first case we're going to be talking about is the disappearance of Caleb Harris. He disappeared down in Texas. He was a student at Texas A&M, the University Corpus Christi location. This is a picture of Caleb. Caleb was only 21 years old at the time of his disappearance. On March 4th of this year, 2024, it was roughly 2:45 a.m. He stepped outside of his apartment, which is this area known as the Cottages, on the 1900 block of Ennis Jocelyn Boulevard. He initially stepped out to let his dog out. He went back, let his dog back in, then he had stepped out again because he had ordered some Uber Eats. We know this because he had just gotten done FaceTiming with his parents. Everything seemed fine to them. He said he was just stepping out to wait for his food. He had left his wallet, his keys, his ID, everything was in the apartment. His vehicle was still parked outside. The Uber Eats driver eventually dropped off the food. He was later questioned. The authorities ruled out the Uber Eats driver very early on. It was like Caleb had just disappeared. We know that he had just stepped out onto his front porch in a t-shirt and pants. He wasn't even wearing shoes. Caleb's disappearance garnered massive media attention. The Corpus Christi Police Department launched a huge investigation. They questioned people on campus. They questioned all of his family, his friends. The Texas Rangers, as well as the FBI, also got involved in the search. There were really no leads. However, they did get thousands of tips over the next couple of months. Then, sadly, in July of this year, remains were found by a Corpus Christi water employee inside the Perry Place wastewater lift station. At the time of the discovery, there was a lot of speculation that it was Caleb Harris due to the proximity of where they were found. They did, however, have no idea. The remains were sent to the University of North Texas Center for Human Identification. The assistant chief of the Corpus Christi Police Department, Todd Green, said that it was a very difficult recovery. The body was very decomposed. They were determined to be those of Caleb Harris, an absolute tragedy. His family, his friends, everyone who knew him was of course devastated. They wanted answers. They wanted to know what happened. They still did not know the cause of death. The remains were sent back to the county medical examiner's office, which they did offer a final autopsy report. It stated that the cause of death could not be determined with certainty because of the state of the remains. They did believe that it was an accident, but they couldn't be certain. The medical examiner's office is quoted in saying, while no significant traumatic injuries were identified, the condition of the remains could have obscured subtle injuries or additional significant natural disease. Keep in mind, before disappearing, Caleb Harris was extremely healthy. He was very active. He had no chronic illness or anything like that. The police made their statement saying that they believe that it's most likely some kind of an accident. He might have fallen into an open manhole. They say he probably just wandered away from his apartment that night and fell into this open manhole, which to me is a ridiculous theory. It's plausible that he could have fallen into a manhole. How would that have killed him, though, without causing any serious fractures or serious injuries? Why, if he had fallen into it, why wouldn't he have screamed out for help? I don't believe that this was what happened. The family, as well as me and many other people, I believe it was foul play. I believe there was other people involved, whether it was one or many. The autopsy didn't show any fractures, any significant injuries on his body. If you fall down into a manhole and it's enough to kill you, you're going to have some pretty serious injuries. That's my opinion, and I did speak to a couple of friends that are doctors, and they both agreed that something seems off here, that doesn't seem right. Because it was listed as undetermined, this is still an active, open investigation that the Corpus Christi Police Department are investigating. If you have any information that you think might be helpful, you can contact their Criminal Investigation Division at 361-826-2840, or you can submit an anonymous tip via Crime Stoppers, which is 888-8477. Of course, I'll have all this information and more in the description. I hope the authorities keep doggedly investigating this, because I definitely believe that there is more to this disappearance and this awful tragedy. My thoughts and prayers go out to Caleb Harris, his family, his friends, all his loved ones. I hope and pray that you will get the answers that you deserve, and I'm so sorry for your loss. Now we're going up to Oregon, northwestern Oregon, in the case I just covered a couple of days ago. Susan Lane-Fournier, who is 61 years old, failed to show up for work on November 22nd of this year, 2024. She was lovingly known by the name of Phoenix. She was reported that day, November 22nd. The following day, on November 23rd, a concerned member of the community saw her white Ford F-250 truck parked near the East Salmon River Road, which is close to the Green Canyonway Trail. The authorities launched a massive search and rescue operation that was headed up by the Clackamas County Search and Rescue Team. In more than 800 hours of combined search and rescue efforts, a good friend of Susan, James Evan, had joined the search. He sadly found her body, which was east of Highway 26 and east of Miller Road, not too far from where her truck was found. He said that he went down the path maybe 20 yards. He said, I quote, saw a tarp. He thought it was garbage. He then bent over to pick up the tarp, and as he bent over, he saw a pair of boots sticking out. He was horrified and knew right away that it was his friend, Susan Lane-Fournier. This was this past Saturday after Thanksgiving. The investigators quickly determined that this was a homicide. The authorities took her to the Oregon State Medical Examiner's office. The autopsy was conducted on Saturday evening, and they determined that manner of death was in fact homicide. The authorities quickly zeroed in on her husband, who she was going through a divorce with, Michel Fournier. He was arrested and charged with second-degree murder in connection with her death. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office is actively investigating this homicide. They are looking to speak with anyone who may have seen Michel Fournier in the days before her disappearance, or who possibly may have information about his activity and whereabouts since then. There's been a tip line set up that is 503-723-4949. Of course, I'll have that in the description as well. The tragedy gets even worse as the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office found the dogs that were with Susan Lane at the time of her disappearance. They were also found deceased. They were taken to the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office, where investigators are working to confirm their identities and how they passed. They are really looking for the public's help with this case. They want to get as much information as possible. Michel Fournier is being held without bail, which I think is a good thing. These are the kind of cases where it's hard to muster up any words. It is just beyond tragic, and I don't understand what kind of a person could commit such acts. What could drive someone to be this hateful and cruel? My thoughts and prayers go out to Susan Lane, her family, her friends, all her loved ones. I am so sorry for your loss. Susan was such a joyous, wonderful, happy person. She loved her dogs. They were best friends. I am just so sorry for your loss. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your support, your comments, your feedback. I know these were very difficult updates to hear. I thank you for sticking with me. Special thank you to co.ag for providing the background music. Hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with me to the end. I know this wasn't an easy video. I definitely would like to hear your thoughts on both of these cases. I'll have the links to both of the original disappearance videos that I did, as well as sources and photo credits in the description if you'd like to do more reading. Both such tragic ends. In Caleb's case, I still believe that foul play is involved. The circumstances surrounding his disappearance, plus the way that they found him. It's very hard for me to believe that it was simply an accident, but I would definitely like to hear your thoughts and opinions. Many of you have sent in certain video requests. I'm working on many of those, as well as some other ones that I've been working on for a couple of months, so stay tuned for those. I'm also working on the Christmas cards. If you've ever been in contact with me, bought a calendar, donated, anything like that, if I have your address, you will get one. If you want one and don't fall into one of those categories, just send me an email with Christmas card in the subject and an address you want one sent to. All right, everyone. See you in the next one.